We're going to spend just a really brief time on trade secret. This is not an area of intellectual property that is very robust in terms of having cases to look at or examples to cite, but it is incredibly important and perhaps one of the most important forms of intellectual property for businesses. So a trade secret is any idea, formula, process, invention, know-how, the list goes on and on. Anything that gives rise to a competitive advantage. So what's a competitive advantage? Well, it's anything that gives you an advantage over your competition. In the case of Bedford, we make our own machinery in-house because we have processes that we've learned that we don't want you to be able to, we don't want anybody else to know how to do them. We don't want to ask an outside machine manufacturer to create those machines because we don't want anybody else to be able to get them. So if you came into our factory and looked at our machines, you've just learned something, you've seen something that gives rise to part of our competitive advantage. That's trade secret. When you enter our factory and you get to see what we do, you have entered into the sacred space of trade secret. And so when you come in our front entrance, before you even get past the receptionist, you have to sign an agreement that says anything that you see, you are bound not to share with anyone or duplicate or take photos of it. Businesses rely on this all the time. Whenever we start working with a new company on a project, especially if it's in engineering or some part of the process, or we want to bring a piece of equipment into our custom product lines or use a process from someone else to help on our secret production line or production process, we sign a non-disclosure agreement that requires both parties to commit to and verbalize, or at least put in writing, that they are part of this, and what they're working on is part of this trade secret process. So another great example is Coca-Cola. The Coca-Cola formula is a trade secret, a highly guarded trade secret, and at least lore and legend is that this formula is in a vault and only a few people have access to it because they don't want it to get out because there's no way to protect it other than to keep it a secret. So if you were an employee who somehow had access to this vault and you went in and stole the Coca-Cola formula and gave it to Pepsi, you would have done something that you would have stolen something that gave rise to Coca-Cola's competitive advantage. So again, trade secret, things like your know-how, your employees' information, your costing, your secret processes, your secret sauce, if you will. These things are things that we can protect. We don't have to, the thing that's great about trade secrets is we don't have to file them anywhere, we don't have to disclose them. We just have to keep them secret. Now we lose trade secret when we make things public. So if you have a secret process for a new soda that you want to make and you put that formula out on the internet, you have now eroded any protection you have of trade secrets. So it's really yours to lose, but it's also yours to enforce. And this is something that we do, and we are very vigilant with past employees and visitors that come to our plant, our factory, to help us with the process that we both require these non-disclosure agreements, and we don't work with anybody who doesn't have one. We also require employees to sign them, and we enforce them on these employees when they leave. You can leave and you can go work for someone else, but you can't take those secret processes and ideas and that know-how to your next employer. So even though you might work for us and you could go work for one of our competitors, you can't go to our competitor and tell them what our secret formulas are, or what our cost margins are, or our cost process on our products, because those are our secrets. So trade secret is also something that the U.S. government has worked to continually make more and more powerful and give more and more teeth to employers and companies to enforce trade secret when things are taken. This is something that people love to do, right? You want to find out these secrets. You want to know how someone makes something, or who their customer lists are, what their cost structure is, and it's highly guarded. You don't want, as a company, you don't want to lose it, and you want to guard who sees it and what they do with that information. That's trade secret. We're just spending a short amount of time on what that is. There's more that could be said, but just know that this is something you're going to want to think about as you're an employee and as you're an employer, as you work on ideas that you want to keep secret, that you make sure you find ways to protect them.